Hello, everybody. Good morning. How many times do you think I'm going to probably say, have a good night or something? I'll probably, because just out of force of habit. Sorry about the little bit of a delay. It's like I was actually up until like 3 a.m. getting the projects done. And what didn't help was that I was very distracted with with watching what do you call it, Ryan Hall. Um, okay. All right, Froggy. And so it was like I was more focused on wanting to know what was going on with the weather than, doing what I needed to do, but nothing. It was actually around the time that I went to bed, about 3 a.m., when we started to get, I don't know if I want to say it was a very, very light rain or if it was just probably snow, because by the time I actually physically got into bed, things were starting to get coated with white. I will say this, that it is now sleeting. I did take a really quick video with my other phone before coming on here. You can probably hear the what's going on, but right now it's just sleet, which is, if it's not snow, then sleet's okay, because sleet's not is not what's going to stick to the power lines and the tree branches. The ground, I mean, it's going to be slick. However, I have no plans of leaving this apartment at all. So, but right now that's what's going on. It's sleet, which is good. That's what we want. Now what's going to happen later on, that I don't know. I'm just kind of hoping when it comes to freezing rain, it's very, very minimal. Yeah, Cynthia. Everything that we're going through is kind of heading that way. And I know, like, just south of us in Mississippi, so like that whole area, kind of like going from Louisiana up through to Tupelo, that's where they're expecting the worst of this ice to be. So, yeah, I was paying attention to everything he was saying. There's 5 levels. We're actually in level 2, unless it changed since last night. So that basically means that it could be a tenth of an inch up to a quarter of an inch of ice. And they say that when it comes to impacts from that, the power, if it goes out, it could be restored anywhere between 12 to 24 hours. So I'm still kind of hoping and praying that the power doesn't go out at all, because, yeah, we don't want that. Nobody wants that. So the rest of you that are kind of like east of here, it's coming, especially if you're further south. Now, those of you up north, yeah, you're going to get hit with some snow. So those of you in Ohio, you're going to get it. Where I used to live in New York, out on Long Island, they're supposed to be getting over 10 inches of snow. So that's what I would be dealing with if I was still living there. So some of you, I did see that, what do you call it, that you're going to have to leave soon. So what I'm going to do is, instead of just talking and having this on me, uh, what do you call it, I'm going to flip it. I'm going to show a couple of things really quick, and then we're going to get started. So usually I do, what do you call, all of my heat embossing and die cutting and all that in advance. The last card that I am doing, let me stop that dinging. The last card that I'm doing, I am actually um, going to be, what do you call, doing embossing on that. Just basically the steps that are on it. Yeah, I pretty much would be doing the whole card if I did the heat embossing ahead of time. So that's going to be our last card. I just want to kind of pull some things out. Because I don't need everything here. Thursday in the afternoon, I did get my paper pumpkin video done. And then later on that night, like really late, like almost midnight, I did get my Throwback Thursday video done as well. And then yesterday I was trying to get these projects done. However, I mean work-wise things were okay, Sharon. Yeah, yeah, about Boston's supposed to be getting even more. And then of course upstate New York, though they always get excuse me, the lake effect. So, um okay, hold on. Um well, yeah, Froggy, I mean, when it comes to winter weather, yeah, I'm used to them because most of my life I've lived between New York and Cleveland, Ohio. So I'm kind of used to the that's the people down here that can't drive when it's dry and the sun's out. That's the problem right there. And those that drive like the pickup trucks think that, oh, they're invincible. No, no, no. You driving like a maniac and cutting people off. Yeah, you're just asking for problems. Um so with that, let me yeah, snow wise, it doesn't look like we got a whole lot of snow. I mean, because I'm seeing like some blades of grass, through the snow. So that's not, to me, that's not much snow at all. And like I said, right now it looks like it's sleet. There may be a little bit of light snow mixed in with it. But like I said, I got my blinds open and I'm not seeing any icicles off of any branches or anything. So that's a good sign. All right, let me go and flip this and I'll show you a short little video I did just a moment ago so you can kind of see what's happening here. Hopefully, because I kind of moved with it, that you can see, you can kind of like see the sleet coming down. So let me go ahead and flip this. And everything sounds good. It looks good. From what I see in my, what do you call it? In my on my laptop screen, everything kind of looks like it's good. All right. So, of course, I can't see the screen. Um okay, you need to go away. We don't need that. All right. So, let me see. Let's see. Okay, Carol. Yeah, again, I apologize. We didn't get this done, last night. My plan was I was going to work on stuff, yesterday. Work was kind of light. However, in preparation of this storm, there were things that needed to get done. Like I got batteries charging, I got like lighting and all that. I got that all charged up. And then we actually ran up the street to Walmart to go and pick up a few items and all that. So I look at it this way. I have found that when we're going to have like severe weather, if I do the steps of making sure things are charged up and all that, I find that, oh, okay, the power doesn't go out. So my hope is that with all the preparing and all that for today, that we don't lose power. So we'll see how that all works out. So let me bring in my other phone. This is the phone I used to use to do all my recording, but I can't make calls, I can't do text messages, but I can do I can record off of it. So let me go to a video. And let's see, do I have, oh, take this down. Okay. I don't know if you can see, you really can't see it, but you can hear it. And I kind of went up just to kind of show the power lines. There's nothing stuck to them. But you can see there's still like blades of grass and stuff. So as far as deepness is in with the snow, it's not much. And even like on top of there's not much. So it's not bad at the moment. Yeah, okay, let me stop that. So that's kind of like what's going on here right now as far as the weather goes. So again, I'm just really hoping and praying that it just doesn't get worse. All right, so I'm gonna get started here because, like I said, there are some things that I do want to make mention of, and then after I am done, what I'm going to do is so the description stuff, I didn't get a chance to get that put in, but I was just about ready to do that. And then that's when I realized that, well, you're kind of running out of time now. So, um, yeah, exactly, Tracy. That's exactly what it's doing. It's right now it is sleet, and the longer we have the sleet, the better. I mean, they're showing freezing rain, but really, I'm hoping that what they were saying, like anywhere from a tenth to a quarter of an inch, I mean, less is better when it comes to that. So, yeah, we're going to be keeping an eye on that. As a matter of fact, there's some, I had bought like thing of biscuits and stuff, so I'm going to bake those up afterwards. I'm going to also make some spaghetti with meat sauce in my Instapot too, and that way there's stuff that's made in preparation in the event if the power goes out. And when it comes to refrigerator and freezer, well, if it's short-lived, well, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's going to be so cold outside that I could literally probably put stuff out on my patio and it'll keep it frozen because those temps are not going to go above freezing. Okay, so what's happening. So the product of the month, I've talked about this ever since it came about. So the Fabulous Sayings, this is the product of the month for the month of January, and the True Blue Florals designer series paper that was from December, that's still available as well. Again, when you go into the online store and you're placing your order, up at the top there is like this bar that will show you how close you are as far as like things that you add to your cart. It's going to let you know when you're where you're eligible to choose the product of the month. Again, the product of the month is limited to one per person. If you did not get December's, you can still get December's as long as the products are still available. You can get it if you didn't get it, even though it's January. So if you didn't get either one of these and you wanted both of these, it would have to be two separate $75 orders. And again, these are not automatically added to your order once you reach that threshold. You do need to go and click on that button in that bar, and you actually have to go and add it to your cart in order to get it. Otherwise, it would have to be another order because from what my understanding is that Stampin' Up! Demonstrator support or customer service, that they're not going to just add this. So be mindful of that. And again, also, if you, whether you do have what do you call it, an account, um, and if you order, okay, all right, Tracy. Okay, you stay warm as well and safe. I know that you guys are going to be getting some snow up there, so you be safe and praying everything is fine, with you up there as far as the power goes and all that, because it's just too cold to be without power. All right. So, what I was going to say about this, I don't know, squirrel. But but yeah, they're not going to add it, so you know, be mindful of that. What I was going to say was that if you do create an account, especially if you're creating it with me, I will mention that there are two different opt-ins that you want to be mindful of. One of them is for Stampin' Rewards. You want to make sure that you opt in for that, because when you place your orders, you are eligible for 10% in Stampin' Rewards starting at $20. Those rewards you can then redeem on a future order. And so you definitely want to check on that. If you don't check on that, then what's going to happen? You're going to lose out on Stampin' Rewards, and then they can't be added after the fact. So that's one. The other opt-in is for contact. Now, I will let you know that me personally, I don't send out any correspondence at all through my Stampin' Up website. I do have a monthly newsletter, which that link will be in the description once I'm done here. And once a month, usually the first Tuesday of the month, I will send it out with has my video schedule for the month, any promotions or anything that Stampin' Up may be doing, whatever I may be doing, and then a sneak peek in the kits that have also come out in that month. So Stampin' Up comes out with 2 to 3 new kits in their kits collection. So this is all the stuff that I include in it. So if you want to receive that, again, when I'm done, I will have the link that you can add your name and your email address, and then the next newsletter I send out, you will receive it. Okay, and then we have bonus days going on. This started on January 6th. It'll go through February 2nd. So for every $50 that you spend, this is after you have applied any Stampin' Rewards and before the tax and shipping. You do need to have a valid email address set up in your account, because right after you submit the order, you place the order, Stampin' Up is going to be sending you an email with the codes that you earn. So if you just placed a $50 order, then you'll be emailed one coupon code. These are alphanumeric codes. If you place a $150 order, you will receive one email and it'll have 3 codes in it. So during this promotion, if you place multiple orders, when you get those emails, you do want to either like flag them or something, so then that way you can easily find them. Or the other thing you can do is you can copy and paste all those coupon codes into a Word document. When it comes to February 3rd through the 28th, that's where you'll be able to redeem them. So, depending on what amount of your order is, you can redeem all of your codes at the same time. You can redeem, a partial amount. Just know that they do need to be used by February 28th, because after the 28th, basically you have lost any that you may have had left. So that will start on February 3rd. This past week on Thursday and Friday, Stampin' Up! Did do their virtual card retreat. I do have this, however, I have not even gone into Facebook to even look at it. I just know that, let's see, for me, it would be 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. on those 2 days. That, yeah, there's just no way I was going to be able to sit there for all that time and, and watch it. So at some point, I'm going to be doing this. I do want to make mention that in this virtual card kit, I did mention about there's this stamp set. What, of course, I don't have the name of it offhand, but the bundle that is in the virtual card making retreat, it actually came out in the new. Hold on a second. One second. One second. One second. Um, Meant to pull this out. So the March, the March online exclusives. So right now it's opened up for pre-order for Stampin' Up! Demonstrators. And I thought that it made that this bundle may have been like, say, in like say the new annual catalog when it comes out in a few months, but it's not. It's actually part of the March online exclusives. So if you see it in here and you have done this, you got that bundle in your kit. So don't order it out of off of here now. Again, this isn't gonna open up until, it doesn't really say on here when it becomes available. It's, I would say that it's sometime at the beginning of March. This will be available to everybody. Okay, so I just wanted to make mention about that. Okay, and 15 cards. So even though they already had the event, the kit is still available. So if you do want it, you will have access to that private Facebook group, and you'll be able to go back and watch the lives. Well, it's not live, but it's recorded. You'll get to go back and watch that. So I did want to give a little bit of a heads up that from February 3rd through March 2nd, Stampin' Up! Is going to have um, an exclusive joint offer. So Stampin' Up! Has come out with a new Stampin' Positioner. As you may be aware, the Stamparatus, they discontinued that, and now they've come out with something else. So this stamp positioning tool right now, Stampin' Up! Demonstrators can pre-order it, but my understanding is that the ordering period opened up on January 21st, and then the last day for the pre-order is on February 2nd. Come February 3rd through March 2nd, that is when then the joint offer is going to start. So after that, you won't be able to pre-order this. Now, this is not like when they do the joining offers that you can choose different ones. This is going to be free in your starter kit. There's nothing for you to click on to add it. It's going to be automatically added, kind of like as a business supply item. And it'll be the positioner itself. So I did look this up. The size of this is an 8 by 10 size. So you got the plate. You do have like this small alignment plate, two magnets. There is grid paper. However, for the starter kits, it's just going to be the Stampin' Positioner. The paper will not be included. Again, right now, demonstrators can pre-order this. Here in the US is $49, and then the Stampin' Positioner grid paper, that is 15. And again, the paper is not going to be included with the positioner in the starter kit promotion. Now, after the promotion is over, I don't know at that point, this will become something that I would believe that would be in the online store, and then anybody can purchase this. And again, I don't know if it's going to be exactly like say March 3rd, but yeah. So this is what promotion that they're going to have starting February 3rd. And again, it's part of like the business supplies in your starter kit. The starter kit, again, I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same. Here in the US, it's $99 plus tax. The shipping is free, and you get to choose $125 in product. Again, when you go through that whole process of, choosing your items and all that, when you go to join, uh you won't be adding this. This is going to be something that's going to be automatic, and it's going to be part of the business supplies part of your uh of your starter kit. Okay, so with that, I think I have everything. Let me take a sip of my coffee. Morning time, so it's coffee time. And I apologize if you hear a bunch of thumping around, that's upstairs. Evidently this kid gets up in the morning and he has way too much energy. Way too much energy. So let me take another sip. Okay, so last Saturday, we did the Lovely Blossoms suite. Today we are doing the Lovely and Beautiful suite. This suite is in the mini catalog. Let me bring in the stuff that's part of this suite. So there is the Lovely and Beautiful Specialty Designer Series paper. The colors in here: Calypso Coral, Darling Duckling, Fresh Freesia, Old Olive, Peach Pie, Petal Pink, and Gold. And so one side you have your prints, and then on the other side you have patterns that have some gold foiling on them. And so we are using paper in our projects. So just kind of like a really quick sneak peek of what the paper looks like. Okay, and then this is considered a mega suite because there's 2 stamp die bundles. So there is Beautifully Celebrated and Simply Beautiful. I will tell you that the stamps, they are big. These are not tiny stamps at all. I take, since it's the same size packaging, I take my dies and I put them in the same packaging with the stamp set. Usually I don't do that, but because we changed the packaging, I'm doing that. But you can see a really large floral image there, and the leaves. And these greetings are a decent size, but this one really shows how big that these are. So really large images. And then the set of dies that goes to the Beautifully Celebrated, you do have some nesting dies right here. They're not stitched on the edges. You do have 2 dies that will die cut a stamped image, and then you have 3 other dies that kind of give you, this gives you some texture, so it's not really die cutting, maybe just those little bits in there. But yeah, these will die cut those images there. And then on this one, you have some detailed dies where you can actually build your blooms. And again, these aren't small either. These are pretty large in size as well. So we are going to create a bloom on our first card using these dies. So again, it's got 2 stamp die bundles in it: Simply Beautiful and Beautifully Celebrated. Excuse me. Um, Also, there is, what is this called? This is the Beautifully Adorned Ephemera pack. So you do get 6 sheets. There's 2 of each. So you have your vellum with your gold foil. And again, there's 2 sheets of each pattern. and you got your label. So if you stamp on here, I'm pretty sure you have to use like stays on ink, or you can probably heat emboss it. But using regular ink, I don't know if it will actually stay on this or if it would rub off. And then there is what the last two sheets are. So you'd have a frame and just a lot of gold and the vellum. This vellum feels like it's a little bit heavier than our regular vellum. Also, these are the pearlized faceted circles. So in here, it looks like you got Calypso coral, um, I want to say petal pink, and then white. And there are two different sizes in there. So these are definitely really, really sparkly. And then there is a ribbon. This is the gold and white ribbon. That's all I call it. It's gold and white. And so it's got like there is some texture there. Now, when I saw this ribbon, it reminded me a whole lot about a ribbon that we had a few years ago that was part of that fine, I think it was called Fine Art Suite. So I pulled that out, and here's the difference. It looks like, what is this? 3/8 of an inch, and this is also 3/8 of an inch as well. So the difference is the one that's part of this suite has more of the white with the gold, whereas the other one looks like it was more of, like, say, crumb cake with the gold in it. So that's the difference. Because when I saw this, I thought, is that the same ribbon? But yeah, there is a little bit of a difference, and it's just the coloring of it. So I wanted to show you that. And I think that is everything that is part of the suite. Again, this suite is in the January to April mini catalog. So let me kind of move these things out of the way so then we can get started. All right, so the first card, where's my first card? And then, of course, since I didn't have time to get this stuff put out there in the description, I'll do that afterwards. I just need to print it out so that way I have, my dimensions and all that. So the first card. So I will say that Memento ink will dry on vellum, but it takes overnight to get there. Yeah. Yeah, or you can probably take your heat tool to it, but a lot of times the heat tool will also like wrinkle up your vellum as well. Okay, so like I was mentioning, uh, all of the cards that I am doing today, these are actually cased out of that mini catalog. And I would say that I did on the two. Yeah, on the two of them, I did change, well, no, all three of them, I did change it up a little bit. I did add the ribbon to this one. They didn't, I need to use like everything that's in the suite. So, so yeah, I wanted to kind of find a way to put that, incorporate that ribbon into what I have here. Okay, so as far as my pieces go, my card base is basic white thick. It's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of that lovely and beautiful specialty designer series paper. This piece is going to fit the whole front of our card, so it is 5 1/4, no, 5.5 by 4 1/4. Added those set of nesting dies. I did die cut one out of basic white. I don't think this is the largest one, but maybe the second largest. And then I have a piece of basic white that measures 3.5 by 1. This is what we're going to stamp our greeting on. And then I had actually brought in some of the two-tone cardstock. So I die cut. So this is the larger die out of this floral builder set of dies. So I have a piece that I die cut out of the Fresh Freesia cardstock. And then on the darker side of the two-tone cardstock of Fresh Freesia, I die cut this another large piece, and then I flipped over the paper, and then this is the one that's a little bit smaller. So this is the light side of it. And then also out of the two-tone cardstock and Daffodil Delight, I did this flower center on the dark side. And then the leaves, these were all cut out of the old olive two-tone cardstock. So on the dark side, I did this larger leaf. And then these two pieces here that are going to layer on top of them, I die cut those on the light side of the paper. And then these two I cut two of the detailed leaves, and I did that on the dark side of the old olive. All right, so let's go ahead and fold and burnish our cardstock. Yeah. All right. Let's see, where's my bone folder? Right there. All right, so then let me get my glue, and I'm going to adhere my piece of designer series paper on here. Very pretty pattern. When it comes to putting paper on the whole front of the card base, I always go with the liquid glue and not the stamp and seal, because at least with this you get that wiggle room time to kind of get this in place, whereas when it comes to that stamp and seal, then you're kind of ripping it off, and then you're getting it all wrinkled and everything in the process. So I always use liquid glue to put that on there. So there is our card front. Then I'm going to take this big die cut here. Again, this is out of, which set is this out of? It's out of the Beautifully Celebrated. And I don't believe it's the largest. I think it's the second largest one. Okay, so this, I'm going to adhere this down. And I did finish off that one refill that was in here that was just being fussy. And so this is a new one. Just changed it out actually this morning. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to place this right here in the middle. Check for straight. Okay, and then I'm going to take my greeting piece here, and I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat. Okay, and I'll clean that off. Put that right there. And then I'm going to stamp my greeting. My greeting is going to be holding you in my heart. And I'm going to stamp that in old olive ink. So let's see. Let's pull that out. Okay. And we'll get a block. I definitely got to clean these. Okay, then let's see, old olive ink. And I know that this is probably going to be very inky, so let me use the back of my spoon to kind of press this ink in. Okay, and I do have some wipes over here so I can... Okay, I need you to stop. The problem is this phone notifications still come through on it. And unless I completely silence it, you're going to hear like this thing vibrating. Okay, so it's on silent. I got it sitting behind me, and of course it's vibrating, and that could be annoying. Okay, so let me get this cleaned off. All right, and put this right there. Okay, set that aside. All right, so let's ink up. Actually, before I do that, what I want to do is I want to flag the end. So you can use scissors to flag it. You know, you just cut a little slit right here in the middle and then go from corner to the top of that slit. But I think this is called the triple, I think this was the triple banner punch, and it's still in my stash, so I'm going to use it. So this is going to fit right in here, right? You're going to fit right in there. And then I'm going to bring it down, and I'm just going to like line up the corner in here and then punch it out. So I want to do that first because when I go to stamp my greeting, I want to kind of stamp it closer over to the left here. So let's ink this up and stamp it right there. Could have went up a little bit higher, but this is okay. Well, no, actually, that's good. All right, so let me put that aside. That's all the stamping that we're doing on this card. Get this out of the way. Okay, then I'm going to take my silicone craft sheet, bring that in. And on the back, I am going to add some adhesive. I'll add some up here as well. Okay, so then I'm going to bring in that ribbon. And I'm going to add this, make sure I got it on the bottom. And then I'm going to add, actually, I got to trim this. This ribbon, it will fray. So let me cut off the edge so it's not all frayed up. It is very pretty ribbon. Okay. And then I'm going to line this up. Let's see, bring that up a little bit. And then I'll bring it across. Okay, so that looks good. And I'll just trim this like so. Okay, then we're going to take this, and this is going to go right up here. So I'm lining up the points from that flagged end and lining it up right to the edge of the card. Okay, and I'll press that down. Okay, then let me bring this silicone craft sheet back in again, and then I'm going to put together my my flower. So I want to take, which one is the actual fresh freesia? Okay, so this is our base, so we're going to start with that, and then I'm going to put down the light side. So this is the smaller one. Let's see, how do I want to put this together? Find a way that it just kind of all works. Nope. Okay, I think that's, no, that's better right there. So I'm going to get my liquid glue, and I'm going to add just a little bit here in the center. I probably put too much glue. And then I'm going to line this up. I'm going to press that together. Ooh, okay, got that. Okay, and then the darker side of the two-tone cardstock. So it's another piece that's like the large one that we did on the base. And then this one is going to go right over like that. So add a little bit of glue. And then we'll add that like so. So I'm not gluing down the petals, because what I'll do is after I get it onto my card, I'm going to actually pull up on these petals a little bit to give it some dimension. Okay, so there is our flower. There's a little bit of glue that kind of came out. All right, so now I'm going to take, let's see, how do I want to put my flower here? This way? Yeah, let's go this way. All right, so the flower center, add a little bit of glue on the back of this. And I'm not going to worry about these stamens on here. And then I'm going to place this right here in the middle. Okay. And then I don't think I did actually pop this up. So I'm going to take one of my larger dimensionals and I'm going to add that right here in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside. And then for these leaves, I'm going to take the one that has the pointy leaf at the end. And I'm going to add just a little bit of glue. Okay, and then that is going to go on to this leaf right here. And then our other one's going to go on the other leaf. Okay, put that right there. All right, so we got that. We have our detailed leaves. So now let's get our card assembled now. Okay, so I am going to just kind of place this right here. My this bigger leaf right here. Let me add some seal to the back of that. And this is going to go right under here like so. And then these two leaves are going to be tucked underneath. So I'm going to bring in my glue dots. And let's see. Those in there like so. Okay, and then this one, we're going to take this and we're going to tuck it under. Like so. Right there. And then where's the other one? Then this one will go right under here. Okay, so now we'll press that down. We'll take our backing off our dimensional, and then we'll add our flower right about here, like so. And then again, I'm going to pull up on these petals just to give this some dimension. Okay, now again with the embellishments, there are 3 different colors in here. So for this one, I am going to go with the white. So they are iridescent. And again, Calypso coral, that looks like petal pink there. And then there's white. There are 2 different sizes in here. And so let's get one of our larger ones. I'll place that there. And then 2 of the smaller ones. We'll put right up here. Like so. Okay, so there is, let me get that pin out of the way. There is our first card. So pretty simple, just doing die cuts and kind of stacking them, and what I did, you know, as far as what's different from what's in the catalog, I added some of that gold and white ribbon right there. Okay, so there is our first card. And then for our second one, again, this is another case out of that mini catalog. And on this one, we're going to be doing some coloring on this one with our Stampin' Blends. Okay, so let me bring in all my pieces. Okay, so for my card base, I have Calypso Coral that measures 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of basic white that measures 5 1/4 by 4. That is for the inside of our card. For the outside, this is the one we're going to stamp on, and we're going to do our coloring on this one. This piece measures 5 by 4 1/4. I have another piece of basic white that is 5 by 1 1/2. I have a piece of that Lovely and Beautiful Designer Series paper. This measures 5.5 by 3/4. And then I had punched out a piece. This is from that, what is it? Beautifully Adorned Ephemera pack. So you get like 4 of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm actually going to cut it in half. And because the pattern that they had used in the catalog, there's only like 2 of those. So I decided just to change that up a little bit. All right, so card base, we're going to fold and burnish. And bone folder. Okay, I'll set that aside. Now I do want to clean that stamp. So let me add some Stampin' Mist to my Stampin' Scrub. All right. Now for this, because this greeting is so large, I do have to bring out like the larger block. So what block is this? That's I. So yeah, we're going to need the larger block. And then this one, I want, let me first take this off. And we'll put that right there. And then I want, nope, that goes to that one. I want this calls for a celebration. And you can see that's a pretty large stamp. So they kind of did I would say that they did these stamp sets to where it'll work for both cards and for scrapbooking as well. So let's go ahead and do that. So I want to bring in for my ink on this one, we're going to be using Old Olive again, and we're also going to use Peach Pie and Calypso Coral. So Calypso Coral, I'm going to use that for my greeting. So let's, oh, and there goes stuff on the floor. Okay. So let's kind of move some stuff out of the way. I'm feeling like I'm getting closed in here. All right, so again, the larger piece, we want to make sure we're using the right one. This is going to go to the inside of our card. All right, so there's our greeting piece. And let's ink this up. Again, because it's larger, I'm going to take the ink pad to the stamp. Okay, and then I'm going to stamp this right here in the middle. Okay, nice big greeting. All right, and then we're going to do some stamping on this piece here. So let me get a piece of scrap paper here. Okay, and I'm going to bring in this great big floral or flower stamp. And again, because it's so large, we need our bigger block. Okay, I'm going to ink this up. And I apologize for the shaking. All right, then in this bottom left corner, I'm going to come in and I'm going to stamp. So I'm not stamping the whole entire flower, so part of it is off of cardstock. Okay, and then I'm going to ink this up again. And then over on the side here, I'm going to stamp a little bit of it right here. Okay, so we got that. Let's close this up. And then I'm going to bring in, I gotta clean these because these stamps, being that they're larger, they're gonna need the bigger blocks. And this one, you know, it's crazy that it is like frigid cold outside. I got the heat on, but I'm getting a little warm, so hold on a second while I turn my fan on. Whew. Okay. And of course, I got to remember I got to turn that thing off when we go to do our last card, because we're going to be using embossing powder and we don't need that all over the place. All right, so what else do I need? I need, out of, let's see, this is the big flower image. Let's put that in here. And of course it's hanging off. That's not what we want. Okay. And let's bring in, let's see, we're going to take this off. Put that right there. And then we need this one here. And then we also need this small one too. Nope. Nope, not that one. Not that one. I think we need the other one. Yeah. From this stamp set. So this one has this little grouping of flowers with its stems. All right, so I'm going to need a large block again for this. And then this one goes this way. And put it on that block. All right, so now I'm going to bring in Old Olive. And we're going to ink this up. Okay, so I am going to stamp part of this, like right here. Okay, and then over to the side, we're going to do like so. All right, and then up at the top, so we only need the very top of it inked up, and we're going to put some right here. Okay, and then you can take that out of the way. And now we're going to bring in our peach pie ink. And then this little grouping of flowers. Ink that up. And we're going to stamp that right there. Hopefully I'll be able to see that. And then we'll do another set up here. Okay. I think that's all of the stamping on this one. So now we got some coloring to do with our blends. All right, so let's get that out of the way. And let's bring in the blends that we're going to use. So on this, we're pretty much coloring in our large blooms and then these open areas of our celebration. So I am bringing in, let's see, is that it? So I have both my dark and light petal pink, light peach pie, and light Calypso coral. So I'm going to bring in, let's see, the light peach pie, Calypso coral, and petal pink. And so for our celebration, we're going to take our light Calypso coral. We're going to do this area here in our C, skip 2, do our E, skip 2 and do the A, skip 2 and do the O. All right. And then the light peach pie. Do this E. And our B. The T. And then the N. And then our light petal pink, which is very, very light. C and our I. Okay, so we added some color to our greeting. All right, let's bring in our flower now. Well, our panel here. So I'm going to start off with my light Calypso coral. And basically wherever I'm going to have like these shadows, I'm going to add some of that. Let's see right here. I'm going to be coming in with other colors in here, so I'm not so concerned about having this look perfect. All right, so I'm going to do one at a time. So we'll start off with this one. All right, then I'm going to take my light peach pie and come in. I'm not overthinking this. I'm just adding this kind of like over this Calypso coral, and then I'm going to use that light petal pink to go over the whole rest of this. Okay, oops, add a little bit up here. All right, now for our light petal pink. I'm not sure if my light petal pink is going out or if it's just that light. Usually when your marker starts squeaking, that's usually the sign that they're on the dry side. Trying to blend out these lines a little bit more. Okay, I think I got everything on here. All right. All right, so there's a good part of this that is going to be covered up. And again, I think my light petal pink is more like on the dry side. Okay. Then let's go over to our other bloom over here, and we're going to kind of do the same thing. All right, peach. So I'm not, well, clearly I'm not looking at any of the comments. So I don't know what. Yep, that scratchy, squeaky. Yeah, that's usually when they're starting to dry up. Let's see, over here. Okay, and now the light. I mean, this light petal pink, I've had this for a while, so it could be on its way out. Okay, I think we got it the best that we're going to get it. All right, so there are our flowers. So that's the only thing that we need to color on this. All right, so let me put those aside. And then I'm going to take some adhesive. Let's see, what do I want to use? Let's use liquid glue. All right. get our card base, and we're going to place this so it's going to be flush with the top and bottom, and then we're going to have like that small border on either side of it. Okay, so then let's set that aside. And then on our greeting piece here, we're going to take our seal, and where is it? Right there. And we're going to add this to the bottom. And let's get silicone craft sheet and our designer series paper. And then we're going to place this right over top. Now it has like a grid on here, so it helps a little bit in kind of getting it straight. So that looks good. All right, and then we are going to pop this up. Dimensionals, I know, are sitting over here. Oh, okay, Froggy. I know the last one that we're doing is going to take a little bit. Like I said, normally I do like all the die cutting, especially if it's what do you call a photopolymer set, and I'm adding a greeting on something. But yeah, the whole process of that card, it's like if I ended up doing all the heat embossing, well, I pretty much have done the whole card. So yeah, so we're going to actually be doing that part. All right, so now make sure my card's in the right direction. And then this is going to sit right across like so. Okay, and then this ephemera piece here, I want scissors. And now let's see, where do I want to cut it? I'm going to cut it right in half, like so. And then I'm going to bring in my glue dots. Because this vellum's a little bit thicker, you can use a glue dot and you're not going to see that adhesive behind it. All right, so this one, I'm going to take this half and I'm going to tuck it right behind like so. And then my other piece, get a glue dot. And then this one, I'm going to take this and I'm going to tuck this under here like so. Okay, so now one more step on this card, and that's to add our embellishments. So for this one, I'm going to use the Calypso coral ones. And there we go. There is, whoops, I forgot a part. The inside of my card. And that like so. And there we go. There is the second card. I really like how those colors kind of work together. So the light Calypso Coral, light Peach Pie, and the light Petal Pink. So there is our second card. All right, so one more, and this is the one that's going to be a little bit more work. So let me kind of clear some things out of the way here. So then that way I have space to, because again, I got to remember, turn fan off before you heat emboss. All right, let me bring in my stamps here. Actually, I need this one again. And this one, I can vaguely see kind of like where the image is on here. And I think it kind of falls somewhere in here. All right, so what else do I need for this one? I need this really large greenery piece right here. And I also need this kind of decorative type of image. And so let's put these on our blocks. Like so. All right. And for this one, I'm going to need my old olive. And I'm also going to need my Versamark for this one too. All right. So I pull out all the pieces for this. All right. So for my card base, that's Old Olive, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of basic white for the inside, 5 1/4 by 4. Hey, Becky. All right, and then this is the Old Olive two-tone cardstock. This measures 5 1/4 by 4. I have a piece of that, what is this called? The Lovely and Beautiful Specialty Designer Series paper. So you do have one sheet that has these images of flowers with the gold embossing. So you can color them in. That's what we're going to do on this particular card. This piece measures 3 3/4 by 1. I have a piece of basic white. This measures 3.5 by 5/8. I also, ahead of time, I had stamped 2 of the leaf images in Old Olive ink on basic white, and I have die cut those out. And then with those nested dies, this is the smaller, and then the next size up. I die cut them at the same time, so there is that centerpiece and then also the frame. So nice big images on that side. All right, so I'm going to start with folding and burnishing my card base, and I'm going to put that inside piece in and then set that aside, because everything we're going to kind of be working off of that piece of two-tone cardstock. Okay, so we're doing like a little bit of everything on this particular card. All right, so let me set that aside. Let's see, maybe we'll do our stamping like on our greeting piece first. I will tell you that this in this apartment, it is very it's dry, so it's very staticky. It's like when I touch things, it's like, you know, I'm getting shocked. So for this greeting, I'm going to bring in Peach Pie, and I forgot the greeting stamp. I want Simply the Best. And let's put that on there like so. And actually, let me kind of press this ink in. Okay. All right, so we got that. And let's turn it the right way. And we will stamp this right here in the middle. Okay, and then I'm going to cut the sides of this at an angle. So let me get my scissors. And we're going to snip. And snip. There we go. So we got that done. And we will set that aside. Then let me bring in my scrap paper again, wherever I put it. And then I'm going to take this piece of the designer series paper, and we're going to color in these flowers. So you have ones that look like morning glories. We're going to color that in. Now these are all the light shades. I'm going to do that in light fresh freesia. You got these little daisy looking ones. Light, no, actually, I'm going to use dark petal pink on that. The greenery, the leaves, we're going to do in light old olive. And then these larger flowers here, we're going to do that in the light peach pie. Okay, so light peach pie. Okay, not that. This right here. And even though I'm coloring over the foiled embossed part, you can still see that gold foil. All right, and then we got this one over here. Okay, and then we got one more right here. So on this one, we got a lot of the peach pie. Let's see that right here. Okay, then let's see, for our little daisies here, we're going to do the dark petal pink. Whoops, that brush tip is horrible. So we're just going to do the petals. All right. see, we got over here. Kind of hard because the light's kind of glaring on it. So to kind of see where I'm coloring. All right, and then we got our morning glory looking flowers here. So we're going to bring in the light fresh freesia for this one. Turn it around. All right, and then our leaves are going to be our light old olive. Okay, there's one. One over here. And I think we got everything on there now. So it went for just white and gold to now some color on there. So I really like that effect on how that looks. All right, so let me now set that aside. Whoop, we need that piece. So all these, oh, you know what? Let's go and color our leaves in as well. So for these, I'm going to color them in using my light old olive Stamp and Blend. I'll tell you, my heat has kicked on quite a bit of times. Must be really that cold out there. And what stinks about all this, the temps aren't even going to get above freezing all of next week. So whatever is hitting the ground, it's going to take a very long time before this stuff melts. It's looking like it's still looking like it's just sleet because I'm not seeing no little icicles off of the power lines or any of the bushes back here. Looks like I'm seeing some snowflakes mixed in there too because they're a little bit larger in size. I think you're going to get some snow too, Becky, aren't you? I think a lot of Kentucky was going to get snow. And I think even sleet too. All right. So we have that. Let's set those aside. And that piece, we're going to set that aside. And now we're going to work on our two-tone cardstock piece. So on here, we got a couple of different things that we're doing on this. So I'm going to take this large leaf image here, and I'm going to stamp this on this piece twice. Okay, so I'm going to kind of come up here in this corner like so. Stamp it once. And then we're going to come down here and we're going to do another one. Now, this whole center part of this is going to be covered up, so I'm not concerned that there's parts that are overlapping. Ugh. Okay, maybe we can hide that up. That's what happens when you get a little too aggressive on inking your stamps. Okay, let's clean that. Yeah, I can't take my my sand eraser to that because yeah, it's gonna end up taking that green off and it's gonna show the white core. We don't want to do that. All right, so I'm gonna take that light old olive blend, and then these leaves, I'm gonna color these leaves in. Now on my sample, I used the dark old olive, and I think maybe it was like just a little too dark on this. So I'm going to use the light on this one. It was funny last night, like I said, while I was, putting these things together, I was pretty much glued to my laptop watching Ryan Hall, and he was covering, the weather and all that. And it was funny because, people can submit photographs and stuff to him. And there was a whole thing about what the shelves kind of looked like in their grocery stores and in Walmart. And pretty much, you had like the bread aisles. There was like very slim pickings, or it was pretty much wiped clean. Sections, where there was like say meat or milk, and it was actually kind of funny. It's like, yep, completely cleared out. And I will say that well, Yvonne, she had stopped at Aldi before she came on Wednesday evening, and she said that they were pretty well wiped out. But yesterday we went up the street to my Walmart, and they weren't too bad. I mean, like in the bakery area, the breads, there were a lot of the unsliced breads in there. Most of those were gone, and then there were some like rolls. But other than that, I don't think it was too bad. I mean, I did notice, not that I would buy it, but I noticed like a lot of the, like the ramen soups, that, yeah, that they were kind of cleared out a little bit. But I know that we still got a good chunk of today to go, and overnight we're supposed to have precipitation, throughout the day and into the evening, and then even into the morning. So I'm really praying that, again, that the sleet, I'm fine with the sleet. Snow would be better. I just don't want freezing rain. 'Cause there's one thing about the power going out, you know, during the summertime when you have storms, and then when it happens during the wintertime, yeah, there's a difference. I mean, I know it gets hot during the summertime, but man, the wintertime, when especially when you're below freezing, yeah, that's not good. That's pull like every blanket out, bundle up in layers of clothes, walk around in your coat with the hood on. Like I said, yesterday I whatever I had, like as far as like you know, those battery chargers and stuff for your cell phone and everything, whatever I had in regards to those, all those are charged up. I have rechargeable batteries. Those are all pretty much recharged up. Those LED candles I have batteries in those. I got a lantern, so I know we won't be in complete darkness here if the power goes out. Now, as far will it be enough light to do like any type of crafting? Yeah, that I don't know. And if this power does go out, then Yvonne and myself are going to have to figure out how to entertain each other. So, you know, we're not just like, okay, go to bed because, you know, there's nothing you can really do. And I hate that because I'm not one that goes to bed early, obviously. So yeah. All right. So now before I go and I do this next part, I'm going to be stamping in Versamark and doing some heat embossing. Now, before I do that, because my ink is still going to be wet on here, I am going to pull in wherever I can figure out what I did with it. Um, yeah, there it is. So I have my, what is this thing called? Embossing Editions Toolkit. And again, with this, we're going to use two different embossing powders. We're going to use the gold and the white on this one. Okay, I need to move stuff out of the way because it's getting a little crowded up here. Sorry about that. Let's kind of move these. This. Actually, let me take a sip of my coffee now that it's getting cold. This is the one thing that power goes out. Can't make hot coffee. Oh, the potato chip aisle would also be emptied a few days. Yeah, actually, we did get some potato chips and some crunchy Cheetos. Yeah, so as far as snacks, snack crackers, cheese, we got all that. We got bread. There's sliced cheese to do sandwiches. So I think we're good. Oh, and of course, you know, we got chocolate. I mean, that's important. You gotta have chocolate. Um, and then there's some cookies, and in my defense, you know, like the Oreo cookies, I really like the thins. So I got the thins. Okay, so my embossing buddy, I am going to use that on here because again, I'm going to also be using the white embossing powder, so I want to try to minimize the embossing powder sticking to what I just colored. Of course, I slopped up right there, but I think I can get that covered up. Of course, now I got ink on there. All right, so now let me bring my Pearson mat in. And so this large image right here, I'm going to ink this up in my Versamark. I'm going to stamp it up on the top here. Okay. And then ink it up again. Let's flip this around. I did re-ink this Versamark pad, so it is very inky. And then I'm going to stamp it again in the center on this side. Okay, now let me turn this fan off. And I'm going to bring in, let's see, let's put the gold aside. We don't need that. We don't need that. Take the brush out of there. All right. Oh, I can hear that sleet hitting the window. Hopefully, hopefully it's sleet and not freezing rain. It is sounding a little loud though. Okay, so there's that side. Okay, that doesn't look bad. So let me set that aside and kind of get this cleaned up. So I'm using two different embossing powders, white and the gold. So what I'm doing is I'm going to do my white first, and then I'll come in and I will do the gold. And again, if you have a fan on, this is where you turn it off because you don't want your powder all over the place. So I don't know if you're actually going to hear my heat tool. I'm going to actually heat it off to the side. Now I will say when I found with the white embossing powder especially that what I do is I heat it from behind. And what I do is I don't put this too close to the cardstock. And then once I start seeing this white powder go shiny, I just move. I don't want to stay in one spot because I have found with white, if you overheat it, you're going to find like some breaks in the white embossing and it's going to look more clear. So I don't know if you can hear this thing or not, but if you do, just know I can't. There's nothing I can do about it. So let me go ahead and heat this up. Okay, so there is our white embossing. And again, if I have the tool like back from behind, but not really up close to the cardstock, and as long as I still see, as soon as I see it go shiny, then that's where I stop. I don't add any more heat to it because I don't want to overheat that. So let me kind of cool this off a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in my Versamark again, and then there's this little like decorative type of image here. I'm going to ink that up. Now, I don't suggest, you know, stamping this image and this at the same time. Well, not, you can't do it at the same time, but what I mean is, stamping this image here twice, adding your white powder to it, and then stamping this image in these other spots, and then adding the gold, because then you're going to have the powders kind of mix up. So I just do it separately. And then when I go to heat emboss this, I'm going to be mindful to um, get too much heat on the white that I have already done. So I didn't bring my Pierce mat in, but I think I'll be okay with this. Now let's see what I can do with this mess right here. Can I get it covered up some? Maybe with all the other stuff that we're doing to this, it won't be all that noticeable. All right, so now let's bring this in, and let's bring in our gold embossing powder. And we're going to add that. I like to do this kind of like 2 or 3 times to make sure that I got that nice and coated. Now let's do this side. Okay. Now close this up. And now let's get this all out of the way, because now we're done with this. All right, heat tool. Now when I go to heat this, I'm going to really focus more on this gold and less over on this white part. Okay, so there we go. All right, so now let's kind of cool this off a little bit. And I'm still going to make more of a mess. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my my snips, and I'm going to distress the edges of these. So what I'm going to do is to bring in my my pop-up trash bin, I'm going to kind of do this off to the side because I will end up being too close to the camera. So I'm just going to take the edge of my scissors, and I'm just going to go across all 4 edges. Just kind of rough it up a little bit. And of course, when you do this, you got to be careful that you don't get too crazy and aggressive with, scraping the sides, that you don't go and scrape your finger, because it's not going to feel good. Okay, so I'm just roughing up these edges right here. And of course, this too is a step that you don't want to do while you got the fan going, or take a deep breath, because you got all these little paper fibers are kind of flying around. All right, so I got one more edge. Okay. All right. All right, so let's get those out of the way. Let me get some of these little paper fibers off of here. Okay. And now we are at the point to assemble our cards. So let me get my card base. And again, I'll do that. All right, so now adhesive. Let's see how I want to do this. I want to put it up like that or down like that. We'll put that on the bottom. All right. Let's adhere this to our front. All right, then we are going to take our our layered die here, and we're going to just fit them back into each other like so, and then we're going to join these together using dimensionals.